It's go time. That's what I like to hear, bro. That's what I like to hear. That's the hear it in my sleep.
I don't think that I don't believe that part at all. Actually,
I think you should. You should, because
that's something I should
actually
decide
happens.
to believe in.
It usually happens on Thursday night.
What kind of terrible man
dreams?
How boring is your life
fears.
that you are dreaming about this bum show? That's a problem for you and no one else. All right, he's Barry Spears.
Probably.
I'm Lou Rabo. This is a show we call SoCal Saturdays. We're doing it a day early. We usually get together with you on Friday afternoons ahead of the Saturday card. We will go ahead and look at all the races tomorrow. And by tomorrow, I mean Saturday. We'll do a Saturday preview of the entire card. That's what we do on SoCal Saturdays. We walk through the entire card no matter where they are racing thoroughbreds. We have done Los Al shows this year, a ton of Santa Anita shows. And of course, right now, we are at Del Mar. We're presented by Amwager and Amwager.com. Appreciate them hanging out with us each and every week. On SoCal Saturdays, on Saturday mornings, you can check out my handicapping article at the Sporting Tribune, sportingtribune.com, as well for all the good things there. All right, Barry, you ready to do a little handicapping down at Old Del Mar?
Absolutely.
Seems like something we should do. If you are new to the program, we will have Louise Jeff Mullins play of the day, Barry's boring play of the day at some point, and then apologize in advance. At some point, we will go inside the mind of Spears, which is, of course, good for absolutely no one. We start with race one there on the Del Mar card tomorrow. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us here on the horse racing happy hour. If you are new to the program, we especially appreciate you. I'm just kidding. If you're back, we can't believe you came back. There is a race right now, Barry, going on out at Del Mar. And if you want to, we can pause the show at 6:30 Eastern time, 3:30 Pacific, and we could talk about race 4. We could do that for the people. Our guy Tommy was very worried about that, so we'll make sure.
That Tommy M, my dude, he was.
I think he's just mostly worried about you.
He was confused. He's like,
wait a minute, we're trying to be degenerates and bet optional claimers right now, and it's like, we got a job here, dog. All right, so not bad about that. By the way, 5-1 and an optional claimer pays the same.
He'll see this. He'll see this. He'll be all right. That's my guy.
I'm very unworried about that part for sure. Moving on to race 1. As I said, we're at Del Mar on Saturday afternoon. 2:00 is the post time Pacific time. So if you're on the East Coast, man, good news. Doesn't start till 5:00, 6.5 on the dirt for a maiden optional. $32,000 is the claim price. $35,000 is the purse. Maidens, fillies, and mares that are 3 and up here. It's essentially an RNA kind of a race here. Barry, where'd you land in race 1? Saturday, Del Mar.
It's funny. These kind of races always present a challenge, and I think it's just the speed figures, especially in the daily racing form. It just anything under like 70, everything gets really murky at that point. I really don't understand why, but it's just always been that way for me. But I'm going to start off here with the number 6, Smoking Hot Stuff. I just have to believe that those races at Churchill, Keeneland, and Oaklawn were better than the races out here on the West Coast. You know, you have some horses that ran at Los Al, which is kind of a weird kind of drop out there, but those horses probably wouldn't be able to compete competitively, most of them, in races at Churchill or Keeneland or Oaklawn, depending on what time of year it is. But I just think this horse would probably get a good trip on the drop. Should be settling in behind the speed. You know, the one, My Girl Mia, has a ton of speed, but being pinned on the rail isn't the greatest thing. So I want to bet against that horse, obviously, but Smoking Hot Stuff should get a nice stalking trip.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with Barry on who the top 3 are. We just have them in exact opposite order. He'll go 6, 5, and 1. I'll go 1, 5, and 6. And I'll just trust that My Girl Mia is going to get out of the gate like she did last time out. Yes, that was back in January, but we've watched a pair of very, very good works happen from the gate most recently at Santa Anita, one on the 1st of July, one on the 12th. Both of those sub 1 minute works from the gate, over 5 furlongs. Before that, working very quickly as well. So just interested to see this one back up off of the layoff. MSI Jaramillo will keep them out. Last time was aboard for this one as well. At the 32 level, gets to get back into that kind of company again. You mentioned the 5 and 6 here coming out of other places, including Smoking Hot Stuff coming out of that company at Churchill Downs. I largely agree with what you said in that, you know, if you're running in a maiden 50 at Churchill, number one, there's going to be 10 horses, right? And then number 2,
right.
then a lot of those horses are going to be pretty darn good. And many of them, frankly, at that point, might not be in that breeding line anyway. So they might not really be in for the tag, right? They're just in that race anyway, because they're probably not going to get pulled out at $50,000. And so it does seem to be that there were some of those. That race last out for Smoking Hot Stuff was in the slop as well. Gets back to dry dirt here, where that horse does have 3 finishes in the top 5 or in the top 3 in 5 races lifetime. The 5 Swimmingly, I think, is an interesting one, and it's largely based on what you said, that it was very good in a closing spot. We're going to have plenty of horses that just want to go, or frankly, like on the rail here with the one in My Girl Mia, who's just going to have to go, right? So we're going to have something to close into as well. So I think Swimmingly might be able to pick up the pieces there. 1, 5, and 6 for me, 6, 5, and 1 for Barry in race 1 on Saturday. At Del Mar, of course, in that first race, starts that early pick 5 out there. At Del Mar, if you're looking for the very best takeout rates, win, place, and show in the pick 5 early on, especially at Del Mar, the places to look. We'll move on to race 2. It's going to be a maiden 16. We're going all the way around the track for this one. Not all the way around the track. 6 furlongs on the dirt here. Maiden 16 in here. $27,000 on the line for 3 and up. Barry, even numbered a race means I go first, so we'll go ahead and flip those up. Nice big field here. I went to the 6 horse with Treximo. Escobedo is going to ride for Ryan Hansen. This is one that has been sitting in this kind of company for a while. Barry came off the bench after a couple of runs this spring. In June, ran really well at Santa Anita Park over 5.5. And I think, had the lead for a little bit, was battling back and forth with a horse named Hankering. And frankly, almost didn't qualify for this kind of spot. Drops into 16 company here. I think that makes a ton of sense. Second time off of a layoff like this, as well as a 15% rating for Hansen coming in as well. And then the 11 and the 12 in here. You and I went very different directions, but to be fair, this is a $16,000 maiden claimer. So you probably could look at a lot of different spots and find cases to be made. Jeff Bondi trains Manila Bay, the 11 here. Joel Rosario is going to pick up the mount. And Joel Rosario's got to get it going. He is 1 for 24 to start the meet there at Del Mar. He does have 6 second places, so maybe he can start to flip some of those. Jeff Bondi does not debut well in the maiden claiming sort of ranks, but this one has been working well enough for me from the gate, Barry, that I think this one might have enough speed to get the job done here. It's only a $10,000 purchase in 2025. And so this is one that they can put in this kind of tag, see what they've got, obviously debuting here, but I think Joel Rosario picking up the mount makes a lot of sense. Then why not the 12? Why don't give me Edgar Prayeras aboard Cosmic Trail? Ruben Gomez trains. This one was really close at Los Al last time in what was not the fastest race ever, but this one has been in faster races. We'll have to pick up the speed for sure to be competitive in this work. But if I'm getting 20-1 on this kind of horse, give me that. Edgar Prayeras, an absolute sprint monster, has not won a race yet at Del Mar, but just in thoroughbred races, 18% this year. Overwhelmingly, those races, Barry, in sprints. Ruben Gomez, likewise, much better at sprints than anything else. Not great off of the layoff, though, and so that would be a concern. But these are 16 claimers, man. So I'm going to take a couple shots here, Barry. I won't be playing the early sequence. I'll be trying to play some exactas and do that kind of thing. I'll be boxing them up, 6, 11, and 12. Where'd you land in race 2?
Yeah, race 2 was, like you said, all over the place. This is a $16,000 claimer, basically the bottom level at this meet. And we're getting a potpourri, but I'm going to stick to horses that ran pretty decent that are dropping down. I'm going to use the 2 Baco County on top. I know this horse has 2 turf races that weren't all that bad. I think this can translate over to the dirt, especially with this class drop. And they're getting blinkers on, getting Juan Hernandez. It sounds like this horse is live. Hopefully we can get that 4-1. I kind of doubt that. I want to say this horse would probably be favored at 2-1, 9-5.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Just because Juan Hernandez basically lands there, I think he'll take a lot of money. Usually happens in these kind of races because the horses are just so wildly inconsistent. You'll get the betting public that'll just kind of reach out there and bet jockeys in a race where
and then once a horse is a favorite, the public wants to hammer a favorite. You're totally right. Yep.
Right. So I think that might happen here. But I went to the $10 action for second. I thought this horse ran pretty good first 2 times out. And something went amiss back in May, and we haven't seen that horse since. Comes back with the blinkers off, which is kind of interesting. I do like the drop. I think this horse is probably a little bit better than what the past performances have shown. 8-1's a very fair price. The horse has been working steadily into this. Bob Hess is a real crafty trainer, and they hooks up a lot with Ayuso and does well. So I think this horse might be a little bit live at a decent price. And then I'm going to take a shot with Cimarron Strip, the 4. Just had one run at Turfway Park and really didn't show anything. So I'm not going to hold that against the horse, but they were a bet a little bit. They were about 9-1 in that spot, getting blinkers on over here. We'll see. This race is really wide open, and a horse like Cimarron Strip showing up in the Super or the Tri does make a lot of sense to me.
Sort of volatile there. Not the full makeover package because this one did have Lasix on debut, but no more manhood, and we are throwing the blinkers on, as Barry mentioned, for that one. So Barry, very, very different than me here, but I think both of us understand why 2-10-4 for Barry in race 2. I will try 6, 11, and 12 there in race 2. Back to the odd numbered races, which means Barry will go first, and it is the first stakes race of a trio of them on Saturday's card at Del Mar. This is SoCal Saturdays, presented by Amwager and Amwager.com, where they have a $50 deposit match right now for new customers. So go check them out at their website, Amwager.com. The Oceanitas, it's a listed stakes, a mile on the turf course there at Del Mar, which means they're going to start a little bit back behind the finish line. If you have not followed turf racing out there at Del Mar, $100,000 on the line. Fillies and Mares 3 and up. Barry, in this one, you get to go first. And boy, I think you could make the case for a lot of different horses in here. I think a very, very competitive one.
See, that's where we're going to go the opposite direction. I know you said previously that you were not inclined to bet the early multis. This race is why I probably will dive in because I think the 2 Sakura Sands is a huge layover here. This horse was keeping really good company, running well, hasn't really run a bad race. He's only finished out of second place once. 3 wins. You go back to that race she had at Goodwood last August, lost to Jonquil, who I did like in the Breeders' Cup. But that horse was sharp at the time. Kind of went off form in the Group 1. Brings her back here. Makes a lot of sense. This is probably the easiest field this horse has faced in a long time. So I think that horse kind of lays over this field. Mayday Ready has a lot of class as well, but I think they might be a step off of that horse. But I think the 2-1 exacta here is good money. They went a little bit too far in the game. It was too tough of class and also too long. The mile trip is a lot better for Mayday Ready. I expect this horse to run good as well. And then Certitude, the 3, should be up forwardly placed. There's not really a whole lot of speed here. And that kind of sort of makes Mayday Ready a little bit dangerous. But I don't think Sakura Sands is going to be too far off the pace either. I think Freso is a little bit aggressive and will get this horse in good position to strike. But I think Certitude will hang around too because there's really not much speed.
I'm going to try to beat the new to North America horse, and this is why. So I will try to beat the 2 Sakura Sands to give you the other side of this. Simon Callahan has won 3 races this year. He is 0 for his last 3 with first timers in North America. He's 0 for 4 with his last 4 first time starters in his barn. He is 0 for 10 with horses coming in off of this kind of layoff. He is 7%. He has won 7 of his last 101 turf races and has never won a race with Antonio Fresu as a mount at Del Mar. So I will try to beat Sakura Sands and follow all of those numbers into this one, which means, of course, that horse will now win by a panel. I'll go to the 4 horse instead. Public Assembly. Umberto Rispoli gets them out here for Phil D'Amato. This is one we last saw in the Game League, just missed in the 1.25 mile Santa Ana. The only question here for me is distance, Barry. Not if this horse can get the 8 furlongs, but rather if this one can be fast enough over the 8 furlongs. I think it's a real question. This one almost got there in the megahertz, and I'm going off of that race largely for my my sample size here. Did win the Royal Heroine in 2025 as well, but this year 0 for 4 has not hit the board yet. But all of those in big spots. But frankly, 2 of those, Barry, 3 of those, I should say. 5th place, 4th place, 4th place by a length, and then a length and a half in 2 of those. So it's not as though the horse is completely out of it, but does need something to run at. I think is going to get plenty of that in this race. Umberto's going to have to get going a little bit quicker because it is Del Mar, but I think this Daughter of More Than Ready should be. And the value here, if I get 5-1 and a bunch of people are betting a horse with Simon Callahan, who's got terrible stats, great. Go ahead and do that. I'll take 5-1, 6-1 on this kind of horse. One horse I agree with you on the inside is very interesting in Mayday Ready. Kazushi gets the mount here for Richard Mandela. Also last saw her in the game league before that, though. Just a good second place in the Royal Heroine this year. So her 2 starts, I think, this year have been very, very excellent so far. I'll go to the 3 horse next. I'll try Certitude here for Joel Rosario and John Sadler. Was in that misdirection down the hill last time, but before has run at a mile, has won twice, 2 seconds, and a third in 7 attempts. So 5 times in the trifecta, has won at Del Mar on the turf course as well, and that was going a mile. So I'll try those 3. I will try to beat Barry's 2 in here. Very odd that I'm the one trying to beat the favorite here, and Barry's sticking up for the favorite and chastising me. But here we are.
Tells you all you need to know, doesn't it?
This is, that I'm right and you're wrong. So there you go. All right, we'll move on to race 4 on the card on Saturday there at Del Mar. He's Barry Spears. My name's Louis Rebo. This is the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Thanks for spending part of your Thursday with us, or Friday or Saturday, whenever you're listening to this at your favorite podcast spot. We really do appreciate you. We're here each week walking through the card in Southern California. No different this week with our friends at Amwager and Amwager.com. We get to the 2-year-olds here. Barry Maidens here, $100,000 on the line, 5.5 on the dirt. And another one of these fields where you're going to have to make a decision, Barry. Do you take the first time Baffert or the second time Baffert? I'm kidding. But you and I are not kidding. We're going to take the first time Baffert. And so I'm going to go with the 2 horse on top here with Domus, son, of Uncle Mo. Orb on the damn side if you want to feel like an old person. And Bob Baffert. Here's what I'm getting used to. We're going to talk about this later in the episode when we get to the Bing Crosby. I'm still getting used to the idea that Bob Baffert's only had 5 starters at Del Mar, and he was on opening day at Del Mar. He was in Henderson, Kentucky at Ellis Park. I'm still getting used to this. The reason I thought about this was because Cornucopian's going to run in the Bing Crosby, and all of his training numbers, not at Santa Anita, not at Del Mar, they're at Churchill Downs. I am still very much getting used to this, but Bob Baffert's got a pair of maidens in here. I think Domus is the one to beat here. The works have been spectacular. We all know his first-time numbers, and frankly, his first-time numbers are getting better, Barry, as he spreads his wings into multiple places. So it's a remarkable thing. You and I both have the 2 on top here. I'll try his Nayar, the second-timer here, who just got blown off the screen by Kennington last out. But Juan Hernandez was aboard for that one. Jumps on the 2 here. We get Joel Rosario instead. I think that's kind of all I needed to know there, Barry, was that we got the jump from 1 from 7 to 2. And I'll put the 6 in here, another first-timer for Gary Mandela. Why not? But these works, man, if these works hold up, Barry, the last 2 especially, this is a fast horse. And we do not have a huge sample size for Gary Mandela, only 3 starters this year. But boy, if I get that kind of number, probably not to win, Barry, but this horse in an exacta play, maybe a 2-6 kind of cold exacta for me, I think makes a lot of sense. So I'll go 2, 7, and 6. I'm sure you have many of the same feelings about the 2 horse here.
Yeah, the 2 horse, this field for a main special weight this early in the meet, I didn't find was all that strong.
Really? What about like Whiskey Bridge, the 4 horse here? I mean, for Doug,
okay. I mean, there's a couple in here that are okay, but I mean, Domus just stands out that much as far as works and everything else. The dam won at first asking. I believe there's a sibling that has run that was very precocious, got speed. I don't expect anything different out of this horse. I think actually that horse is in Baffert's barn as well. So you said everything I agree with totally 100% about Baffert's stats and this horse and the works. But Whiskey Bridge, the 4, is very interesting. Who's a half to Robusta, who was really quick. Needed to figure it out first time out though. But this horse has a nice stream of works too. And I really think this horse might be able to kind of get good position here and see where it goes with it. Because Jaramillo does good work for Doug O'Neill in this barn. So I'm fairly certain he's going to get first call on most of Doug's good horses.
I agree.
And I think this one is flying a little bit under the radar. The pedigree doesn't shout out to you, I'm super fast or anything like that. But I think this horse is solid and should be around it. And then I went to the 1 in 3rd, Luby's Prince. There's some good works there back in early July and late June. Mandela doesn't do all that fantastic with the first timers, but gets Rispoli on this one. I'm not fond of that rail draw first time out, but strange things do happen at the racetrack if somebody didn't tell you that already. I can see scenarios where this horse gets the lead and gets the jump and just keeps going. Hopefully not, because I'm going to lean on Domus quite a bit in the late pick or early pick 4 and pick 5. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Are you going to be playing a single 2-2 in your sequence there?
Oh yeah, I'm going to play multiple tickets. Yeah, I'll probably play a couple of real short ones for multiple dollars, like $4 or $5 tickets, almost straight. With a couple in the surrounding races. But if we can get that 2-2 double here, it might be Sizzler time, Holmes.
So he settled out about Sizzler. 2, 4, and 1 for Barry. I'm 2, 7, and 6 in race 4. The first of the 2-year-old maiden races on the card there at Del Mar on Saturday. Race 5, back to the turf for this one, Barry, as I update the graphics. There we go. Race 5. Back to the turf, a mile there, an optional claimer, the $20,000 level. See a lot of these in California. By the way, Barry, the record for a mile on the turf at Del Mar is 1:32. I don't know how I would react if I watched a horse go 132 flat. I don't know.
Yeah, what would you do?
It's so fast. Like you'd win by like multiple panels. I can't even imagine.
That's insane.
Your horse runs like a 135 and change, and you lose by 3.5 seconds or something. I can't.
Right, it's like 2 minutes later.
Once in a while, I see track records, and I'm like, "There's no way a horse did that."
Nobody's,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's no way that happened, right? But an optional claim awaits us there. No kidding. $81,000 on the line here. This is for Calbred, so nice race here for the locals as well. Barry, where did you land in race 5? Close. Oh, that pick 5.
Yeah, I landed on the 4 Trump era. This horse ran a huge race on was it Gold Rush Day? All the Cal Stakes. No, I don't think it's Gold Rush Day, but it was the State Bred Stake Day that I had a really good day because I hit this exacta, but I wanted the 4 to win, honestly, because of the multis.
26-1. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but just got nipped. I mean, really lost a dirty bob there to unrivaled time. And this horse is kind of, dropping down into this race. I think 1.1 miles is probably not that horse's best distance, but they got away with some semi-easy fractions, and I think that can happen again. I think they're going to be really tough. If we get anywhere near 6-1, I might be pushing some chips in, even on top of the pick 5s I'm playing.
I'll tell you, Ryan Hansen, man, he is way ahead of his usual pace for earnings and different things this year. He's having a spectacular year out west. Yeah. It's because of horses like Trump Air that he's done a very, very fine job with. This is one that we saw in 2025 debut and then has moved up, into these kinds of races, gets Lasix again here, which I think is a real positive. Hasn't run since that Snow Chief, as you mentioned, in May, but I think it's very live here for sure. You and I have the same top 3 different orders again, 5, 6, and 4 for me, Barry Steak Fries, which is a great name. For a horse will be in here. It is one that did win on the turf without Lasix as a 3-year-old, as a 2-year-old in 2024. It's one of those horses needed all of 2025 off, came back in April this year, and as you like to say, came off the bench running. This is 3rd in the form cycle. I really like this spot for Joel Rosario and Craig Lewis. I think it makes a ton of sense. I actually like them stretching out as well. Sir Prancelot on the sire side, in excess on the dam side. I think getting more distance here makes a ton of sense. It is not a great angle for Craig Lewis going sprinter route, but I think in this particular case, this horse makes a lot of sense, Barry. And I think they're going to try to get out near the front of this thing or be right off of the leader and go ahead and try to make a move late with Steak Fries. You went 4, 5, and 6. Let's talk about that 6 horse in Warm Sun and Brew. And you have a weird smile on your face. Did you get a text from someone? Did something happen? Are you making fun of me for talking about Steak Fries? Like, what's going on?
A little. No, it's not. It's not really making fun of you. It's more the mind of Spears. You know how you were just saying, my saying about horses when they come back off the layoff, they come back running.
Yeah.
In my head, I hear Forrest Gump saying, "I was running." So. There you go. That's minus Spears.
Wow. I
try not to. Yeah, that's deep in the bag, bro. That
was That was full Mind of Spears. Congratulations, everyone watching, listening, whatever you get to this episode. That was Barry Spears. That is hanging out with Barry Spears.
They're staying. They're loyal.
You'll just be at the track with Barry. It's like Preakness Day. You're just hanging out, beautiful day. Everybody's in a great mood. Barry will just lean over and go, "Hey, you know when I think of comeback running, I think of Forrest Gump.
I do.
Do you think life is like a box of chocolates, Louis? Like that? Those are conversations with Barry Spears. It's a real thing that happens.
Either that or you get some loose gum. It's one or the other. Ooh, yeah, that's another story for another time.
We can't, Barry.
We can't ruin the show like that.
That's an episode by itself. Please don't do this to me. I'm not prepared to talk about that moment in my life.
All right. So Warm Sun and Brew is a really nice horse. Fits at this level, but just doesn't win. 4 seconds out of 7 starts, this horse just doesn't want to win. There's really not much class to go around. And I mean, this horse will win and break through eventually, but they're still going to cash checks. And that's what they've been doing. That's what they're going to do. I think they're in the top 3 here.
All right. 4, 5, and 6 for Barry, 5, 6, and 4 for me. Obviously, in race 5, we see it very much the same way. Warm Sun and Brew out of the Glatt barn. Did return after a couple of months off, was running very well at a mile, tried the downhill course, and we'll get back to the flat mile here. I think makes a ton of sense. Moving back into the claiming ranks for race 6 here on SoCal Saturdays, presented by Amwager. I'm Louis Rabeau. He's Barry Spears. Fun one here, a field of 14 for this one, 6.5 on the dirt. This is on the filly and mare 3 and upside, non-2 lifers in here. And you are in for the tag for $12,500, and the purse is $28,000. Barry, I'll go ahead and go first here in race 6. And I do think if one draws in off the AE list, they're very interesting in this spot. We'll get to that horse later on, but I'll try Violence's Oar in this one, the daughter of Violence, of course. We last saw this one running at Los Al, and I want to make sure I've got my notes right here. This feels like one I wouldn't pick. All right, no, we'll try Violence's Oar here. Oh, that's right. I know why I'm picking this one.
No, you're right. You're right. You got the right one. Yeah,
this is the right one. Yeah. Broke its maiden at Santa Anita in the $20,000 range. And then they tried the turf almost certainly just for a condition. She didn't love it. They get her back to the dirt. She's very competitive at the 25 level 2 back at Santa Anita Park. And then for some reason, a bad break last time off slow, and still did a ton of running, Barry. So even to finish 5th in that race, that horse was not maybe last, but very close to last and many lengths off that race, and still did a bunch of good running at Los Al. I like when horses at least show that. I think this is a level where this horse absolutely can win. So getting back to the 12-5 level, I think makes sense. People who listen to this show know that I really respect Edgar Payeras in these kinds of races. And so I think he's the right horse to have in this spot. So I'll put the 2 on top. I went to the 7 horse after that, Barry. Shady Stripes, 3-1 here. No surprise. Broke its maiden last time, going 5.5, just going to the front and just going. Edmund Maldonado will keep them out here for Jeff Bondi, who does not win back-to-backs. And so that's why this horse is not at the top of my list, because he is over his last 13 with horses that won their last starts coming into another start. And so that horse ends up second in my handicapping. And then the 10 in here is Alex. And both of us have that horse in here, Barry. So I'll let you talk about the 10, but Tate Batts, Doug O'Neill trainee, was in the $10,000 ranks last time, ran a good second, was in the 12-5 ranks before that, won at Santa Anita. Both of those over 6 furlongs, I think makes a ton of sense in this spot. So if the 14 does draw in, Barry, one to absolutely watch here. So 2, 7, 10, watch the 14 if that one draws in here. You went to the 4 horse on top though. And that is a Pretty Cece, which no one's ever called you. But Thiago Pereira riding for Victor Garcia. Talk us through Pretty Cece.
They call me Pretty BB. See, there's a difference there.
It's not.
But you're like the only guy I know that does well with those AE draw-in selections.
Oh, okay.
I'm never successful unless it's a MTO kind of situation.
Sure. But I don't even. Well to me, that's MTO is not the same as AE. That's not.
No, it's not.
That's
a
not
little
the same
different.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, I will take that as a compliment, because you are not very complimentary of me. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, get out of here. You need some gum, perhaps?
I don't.
No, Pretty CC. It looks like they found their friends last time. She dropped down to this level, ran a bang up race going longer, and I think that race sets her up very well for this one. Should sit a way better trip, not on the lead, a little bit slightly off the pace like they did last February, where they kind of came off the pace and just weren't good enough that day. But should have enough speed to run it, because I think Violence's Ore will probably go forward. And same thing with Susie's Loaded. And I think this horse can sit right off of those two and get a great trip. Alex on the outside is very interesting too. Not totally sure why they keep trying the turf with this horse, but here we are.
I'm with you, dude.
I think this spot really, really favors a horse like that because of the fact, A, they don't have many races under their belt. They're not quote unquote proven losers. So if they take to the dirt like I think they can, which they've shown before, and prove a little bit, they could be right in the mix here at a good price. And then Violence's Ore definitely looks good. Those last two dirt races they had stack up well against anybody in this race. I'm just not sure who was in that race or those races that would really be tough in this spot. They're all kind of the same. So, and this horse seems to get off a little bit slow at times. So that's why I kind of downgraded him a little bit.
Talking with Barry Spears. My name is Louis Rabeau. That was race 6 at Del Mar on Saturday. We're rolling along here on SoCal Saturdays. Late pick 4 will start in race 7. If you're betting the late pick 4, check them out over at Amwager and amwager.com. Got a $50 deposit match right now for new customers. You can go check them out. And of course, the turf pick 3 also starts here as well. Actually, I'm a race early. This is the late pick 5. What am I saying? Race 7, Barry State Breds again here, $20,000 level, non-twos, going a mile, $81,000 on the line here. And this is on the male side of things, 3 and up. Where'd you land in the race 7 optional claimer?
Yeah, this is another one. This is actually a pretty decent race. I think
this race, Barry, this race and race 8.
Yeah, very tough.
If you can't get excited by this late sequence, I got nothing for you. Del Mar put together a card, man. This is fun.
Yeah, this sequence is very nice.
Yes,
I ended up on the 1 Known Idea. I'm not so enthusiastic about the rail draw, but this horse's last 2 turf races certainly would win this race, especially the last one. I think they just didn't get a great trip and didn't get good handling from the rider, and they ended up losing that race. And I thought they should have won it. You get Fresu, but you get the rail. So I don't know what kind of price. 4-1 seems a little ambitious. I think this horse is going to be bet down a little bit from there.
I agree with you.
But honestly, I wouldn't take that horse at 2-1 on top. But I would take the horse at 5-2. So it's just something to keep in mind, because this race is competitive. Eloquent Summer, the 3, has some races to go to that fit here. They just have trouble getting over the hump. They did last time at a higher level, dropping back down into this level. And I think that might be a little bit of an advantage here. And another one that could vie for favoritism, depending on what the public is looking at. You would figure a drop down might get bet as well. So I expect Known Idea and Eloquent Summer to kind of be close in the wagering. And then I went to the 6 Stylishly Acclaimed for Jaramillo and Carla Gaines. They're hooking up quite a bit on this card, and I think they're going to win at least one of these races.
Okay.
But I don't think it's this one. If that does happen, I don't think it's this one. I think this horse is just a little bit, kind of challenged in the fact that they seem to not have a real style. You see him come off the pace, see him on the lead, and I think that might get them in trouble. Jaramillo is probably going to try to get this horse forwardly placed, and it might get him into trouble because I think this pace might end up heating up a little bit up front. But we'll see. But I do have that horse. They seem to be talented enough for the 3rd spot.
Yeah, I went with your 2nd and 3rd on top here. So I went 3, 6, and 4. I think Stylishly Acclaimed is especially interesting, Barry, because that horse at a mile has been good before. But I also think this horse is good off the bench. So the horse debuts in April of 23. They need to take a year off. Horse comes back in that July, wins right away. They need to take a break again after 2024, comes back in 2026, wins again on debut for 2026, runs a good third last time as well. When the horse got just a little bit over a month off. We're going to get a couple of months off here. And I think that's the right amount of time for a horse like Stylishly Acclaimed. I'll have that one second in my handicapping. Largely agree with what you said about the 3 in here in Eloquent Summer, who I think has looked really good. And I think the class relief here, Barry, is going to show up in a major way. And that's why I have this one on top. And I agree with you as well. I think I'm going to get 7-2 on this horse. I think that's where this number is going to end up, is somewhere between 3 and 4-1, which I think is okay for me. I'm happy with Hector Berrios getting the mount on that one at that kind of level. Also, this horse, 3 runs in at the mile, 2 seconds at a first. This horse is just going to be there at the end. And if you follow me at all, you know, when I handicap route races on the turf, I just want horses that are part of the trifecta over and over again. We certainly get that with Eloquent Summer, the 3. Then, the 4 horse in here I thought was interesting, Oracle of Paradise. I really need Joel Rosario to hit the board a bunch. And so Brian Corder trades this one. Comes out of a maiden win, and they needed to give this one a little bit of time off after that run, but it was at a mile. It was the first time getting back to a mile in almost 9 months. Wins at the end of May, is going to come down here, but has been training at Del Mar most recently. So they moved this one down. So this is a home game for this horse, not necessarily having to ship down from Arcadia. And I think this one makes a lot of sense in this spot. Gets a little bit of weight relief even because it hasn't won a second race at all. It is coming in at 3 years old. And so gets 118 instead of the 122 it had to carry last time. I don't know that makes a huge difference, but it's at least a little bit of an advantage. And this is one that will sit mid-pack, Barry. And if it could do its late kick late, could absolutely be part of the equation as well. So go ahead and give me 3, 6, and 4. And this one, again, Barry in race 7 will be 1, 3, and 6. Moving on to race 8 as we get later into the card here. And this actually starts the late pick 4. And this is the old what could have been race, Barry. I feel like once in a while on a card, we get the old what could have been race. And once you hear the lineup of this one, folks, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. We're going a mile on the dirt there at Del Mar, where it is a 1 mile dirt course. $100,000 optional claimer. Several horses in for the tag at that level. $82,000 purse. Non-2 lifers in here, Barry. We get Bartholdi in here, who we have seen in a ton of California graded stakes. March of Time is in here. A 5-year-old son of Justify, making his 5th start for Bob Baffert. Midnight Mammoth, who we watched run second behind Skippy Long, stopping in the Gold Cup at Santa Anita, is in here. Indispensable, who we have seen in graded stake after graded stake after graded stake, was a very good second in the Zia Park Derby in 2024. McVeigh is in here for Peter Urton. My goodness, the what could have been race, Barry. Who could have been is the question here, and I'll go ahead and go first in race 8. Or do you want to go first? We laid it on the same horse. I was very impressed, actually. I laid it on the 8, Barry and McVeigh. Maybe we should talk through this together, but Peter Urton trains. Okay. I saw this one in grade 2 there at Santa Anita. I think a bunch of things here, Barry. I think the distance is right. I think getting back to Lasix is completely right. Every one of this horse's wins has been on Lasix. And I think this Son of Constitution, who they paid a little bit too much money for, is going to be, I think is going to be the class in this race. But Barry, he's going to have to be, and he's won a couple of different ways in his career. I think in this field, though, he's going to have to do something a little out of the usual for him. I think he's going to have to stalk a leader, but I think he's going to have a couple of horses to run at, including Midway Lane, who's going to break just outside of him, and Firmus, who's going to break from the 10. Both of those horses are going to be compelled to go because of how this race is going to set up. I think he can sit, 3-4 lengths off and make a run at the very end of this race. I'll put McVeigh on top. What did you like about him?
There's quite a bit I like about this horse. So if you look at the October 4th race at Keeneland on the turf and the race before that, December 28th, 2024, and you just put a line through both of those races and just in your mind, just eliminate that 64 and 66, this horse you would think would be favored in a spot like this, especially, after coming off the bench. They probably were semi-live on March 8th, where they lost Mike Smith. Then they come back to win on the front end, which they haven't shown the affinity to do ever.
Right.
And then run a bang-up race in the Gold Cup.
I agree.
Well, not getting an ideal trip. Now they kind of getting sort of class relief here.
I'm with you.
And should sit an excellent trip. I mean, this horse can be up close, can be a little far back. wherever Jaramillo pleases to put this horse, he'll be able to do. And then you see the class in the back end there where they lost to Muth and Stronghold, Imagination, and Nisos. I mean, this horse has been keeping very, very good company.
Laganos. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Right. I really hope we can get that 8-1, but it doesn't sound like we'll get it. But
yeah,
I'll be okay with down to 4-1. That'll work for me.
I was going to say 5-1 is probably my number on McVay here. Yeah.
Yeah.
8, 10, and 4 for you. The 10 horse in here is Firmus, who I did mention was a winner last time out, did win on debut at Ellis Park going 6 furlongs, but has been out west since leaving the Catalano barn to be with Bob Baffert. This is the other Baffert in here, Barry.
Yeah, it's just always tough when he has two, because you don't know what tactics they're going to bring. Because on paper, you would think March of Time will be forwardly placed. Sometimes that's not the case, but there's a lot of speed in here regardless. And I do think that Firmus might be able to close a little bit. They ran a few good races at a mile, especially the last one, obviously, where they won going wire to wire. But I don't really think this horse needs to be on the lead to be effective. And I think getting a more patient rider in Gonzalez is probably a better fit, and why you see Gonzalez here instead of on the other one where Juan Hernandez landed. But Bartholdi is pretty quick, and the inside horse has to run. Mo Running has to go. So I think this pace is going to be very, very honest, if not fast. So that kind of opens it up. But I think McVay stands to get the trip of a lifetime here, and hopefully they can capitalize. The other horses, that I do like in this spot, it's kind of strange, because Frosty Indulgence, who I have, possibly get a really good trip also. It's just not trustworthy being a closer. I don't like betting horses like that, especially on top, unless it's just so overly glaring that there's going to be some sort of pace duel where the pace is just, there's no other way than fast. This one, it's not as clear cut. So I kind of downgraded their chances, and I put them third. But it's really a real tough race, and I couldn't begrudge anybody for going any direction here. But I just think Firmus might be a little bit, might have a little bit more of an edge than the rest of them.
8, 10, and 4 for Barry. 8, 5, and 7 for me. Midnight Mammoth in here, another second place. The second place finish I mentioned there in the Gold Cup. Last 3 times the horses had Lasix second win. And so I just think getting back to Lasix here makes a ton of sense. It's a horse that's done a little bit of everything as far as distance, but the last 2 runs over 2 turns have been in a grade 1 and in a grade 2. So I'm not going to hold them, and they're off Lasix, of course. So I'm not going to hold that against the horse in this case. But came back at Los Al, very much a setup race, I think, for something like this. In at a 50 allowance under Armando Ayuso, who keeps them out here. I thought looked just fine coming off of a 4-month layoff. Should be ready to go here. Only 3 weeks off, which I love. Craig DeLaz hits at 29% with this kind of turnaround. So I think that makes a ton of sense in here as well. 8, 5, and 7 for me means that Indispensable got the third spot in my handicapping. It's another one that we've just seen in higher levels, Barry, and I think we'll get back to something that it's much better at. And the last time this horse ran at a mile on the dirt on Lasix was at Del Mar, and it was a win. So I will go ahead and ride the horse for that. Has been off since December, but John Sadler, decent off the layoff, and I think the works recently show a horse that'll be ready to go at least the mile there at Santa Anita Park. 8, 5, and 7 for me in race 8, 8, 10, and 4 for Barry in race 8 on Saturday at Del Mar. Go on to the late pick 3. That'll start here in race 9. Talking with Barry Spears. My name is Larry Bell. This is SoCal Saturdays presented by AmWager on the Horse Racing Happy Hour Podcast Network. The Daisy Cutter, one of the duo of stakes races as part of the late pick 3, is here. It is 5 furlongs on the turf. We are going for $100,000 and 3 and up on the filly and mare side here. Barry, you get to go first. When you are looking at these races, and I kind of wanted to go inside the mind of Spears, at least the handicapping part. Don't go in the weird part. With these races at Del Mar, because they're only 5 furlongs and they are lightning fast, are you looking at horses like I do that I know start well and are going to be part of that early pace so they don't have a ton of ground to make up? Or are you just looking for horses that you think can get the job done at 5 at Del Mar?
Um, well, I mean, one of the things I do look for are horses that have won at that track at that distance.
Yeah, it's different.
That's usually a tip off that they do like it, because it is a different kind of configuration.
It's different.
So
Yep.
they, the horses that tend to like it will continue to run well on it. But as a whole, if you watch the races at Del Mar, it seems like you have to be within a length or two at the top of the stretch. You don't really see a whole lot of deep closers. The stretch isn't all that long anyway. But when it's really dry out there, and which it seems like it is, as typically it is, it's hard to close from way back. And I think you need to be up close, especially in the 5 furlong races. You can get a horse that stalks, but if they're in the second and thirds of the field, then you might have a more difficult time.
Barry, where did you land on the Daisy Cutter?
I landed on the 10, Kuwaitja. Really because the fact that this horse last year was running really good races. They beat a horse in Chavetta who ends up, I believe, going in a stake. They beat him the next time out at Churchill. Then they run into a horse named Moonspun who ripped off 3 out of 4.
Yep.
Comes back in 2026 in June, runs a real decent race against these types. And I think they needed that race. And this one is the one they want, at the big track during the summer, premier Del Mar meet. And I think they can get the trip. I mean, there's enough speed up front where this horse can get around some of the slower horses and get good position. So the post doesn't scare me as much as it should. Hector Barrios rides this turf course just as good as anybody. And I think they're going to be real live in this spot. And I think we're going to get a lot of that 10-1 too.
I agree with you. Yep. I think you'll get every bit of it. If at worst 8-1, something like that. You have the 3 in your handicapping. That one does not appear in my top 3. Can't Sleep coming out of a second place finish off of a long layoff last out at Santa Anita. Got to imagine you like this second in the form cycle here for Carly Gaines.
Yeah, I like when they come back running, and it doesn't matter the age when they do that.
Running.
There it is, my man Forrest Gump. That's all I can see. Can't Sleep is Forrest Gump right now.
My man Forrest Gump.
But they should sit a good trip. Jaramillo is probably going to have this horse just like he did last time, really close to the pace, and I think that's the place to be in this kind of race, especially with the horse, the speed on the inside of them in Bits Tiger Magic. That one's going to definitely be on the engine, and Can't Sleep can do the follow move and hopefully find a spot. Jaramillo does a really good job of doing that.
A win over the course there at the optional 50 level, came back in the optional 80 level last time, was right there with Tahini, who's also in this race, but just faded at the end. Kuwaitja was at a half a length behind Can't Sleep last out as well. So an interesting pick there by Barry. He has the 6-horse third in his handicapping. I'll go to the 6-horse on top in mine, and that is Amarita. And this is, I want to be very honest with the audience. This is a class play, period. This is a horse that is willing to do early running, Barry, and that's what they're going to have to do in this spot. That 6.5 in the misdirection. I almost, now that we've been doing this show for over a year and a half, I almost don't think of those downhill races as sprints anymore. I think of them as mile races. And so, yeah, I saw this one in the Wishing Well, and that was off the bench. I thought the horse looked good in that one. Before that, of course, in all of those mile races, had the lead in the China Doll, had the lead in these optional claimers as well. I think is just fast enough. Makes a ton of sense for Richard Mandela to try this one. And that most recent work, my gosh, he's ready for her to get flying. And I think she'll do exactly that on Saturday. 6-2-1 for me in this one. I'm going to try Bits Tiger Magic. This is another one that you and I have seen quite a bit, frankly. And I'm going to just go ahead and draw a line through the last effort there in January. But this is one that we've seen in other spots. A Calbred here has won at Del Mar before. And I love the work last out over the turf course there at Del Mar. I think we'll be very, very ready for this one. By the time we get to post time, 18% off the layoff for Peter Miller here. And I love that they booked Juan Hernandez for this, who's been aboard for every single win in this horse's career. And so hopefully he can get, this daughter of Smiling Tiger to the finish line for me. The one horse is Saratoga Special. I think I would have this one higher in my handicappings if this one wasn't on the rail. But what I thought showed really well in the Wishing Well essentially hoping for that kind of repeat performance. They thought enough to ship this one for the Giants Causeway, right? And that isn't nothing. Went over to Churchill to try a mile race and have fun with the current turf crop at Churchill. That's a big ask there. But I do think that wishing well showed me what I needed to know for this race. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a little tough with that horse, because they're not really fast enough, I don't think, to get great position sending, and then trying to loop the field is extra difficult as well. And honestly, if this horse ends up in the money, it's really going to show this horse's talent, and I'm going to try to bet that one back.
10, 3, and 6 for Barry, 6, 2, and 1 for me in race 9 Saturday at Del Mar. Let's go ahead and get to the feature here. It is the Grade 1 Bing Crosby. We're going 6 furlongs on the dirt. You get a spot in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Sprint if you win this race. $400,000 on the line in a Grade 1. Barry, I thought this came up very, very nicely as a race. I think this field is exactly what we want to see, especially in dirt sprints, with horses that are exiting optional claiming sort of ranks, others that have been in stakes company, etc. Because all we care about here is speed. That's all we care about, right? For 6 furlongs, that's what we're worried about. It's just speed. Who's fast, who's going to do the darn thing on Saturday. Race 10 means an even number race, so Louis going to go first, and I'm going to do something Barry's going to hate. I'm going to take the horse on the rail in Maximum Bourbon. I saw this horse in the St. Matthews last out in April. That was in the Joe Sharp barn. We are now in the Phil D'Amato barn, at least for right now. And this is, I'm not going to lie to the audience, a big step up. But what I loved last time out was that this horse off Lasix showed me everything, answered every question that I would ever want, Barry. So this horse had won a couple of times, first at the maiden level, of course, but it was at the maiden 50. They debuted in the maiden 50 level, and they slowly worked this one up. If you take out the one race at Turfway Park, this horse has never been worse than a length and a half off the winner in second place, and that was behind Built, who is a very fine sprinter. Comes back in that St. Matthews and beats Built, flips the tables on that one, beats Bourbon Dash in that one and beat him pretty good by 5 3/4 lengths. 108 and change at Churchill Downs does not happen too often in that 6 furlong sprint thing. That was early in Derby week, so that was one of those where we all went, oh, well, how about that? And I know our guys in Indiana are really hoping this son of Maximum Security gets a Grade 1 in him. But I think what's going to happen here, Barry, is because of the lack of class coming in, I think this horse will be cheap. I think we'll get a good price on it. I don't think 7-2 is the basement here. I think we're going to get 4-1, 5-1 on this horse moving forward. So I'll try the Joel Rosario piloted. It's always dangerous. The Joel Rosario piloted Phil D'Amato trainee here, the one horse, 1, 6, and 3 for me. The 6 horse in here is Cornucopian. I am going to ride that one as well. Flavian Pratt rode last time. Juan Hernandez gets them out here, which makes me think they're being serious about it. The only loss in the last 4 races was in that Churchill Downs. And Barry, can you name a horse on the planet that would have beaten T.O. Elvis that day? Because I can't. Maybe Caillou Rising, I don't know. But that's about it.
No.
If we take that race out, we've got a horse that is very, very good and very good at this kind with this kind of company, I should say, not this level, but this kind of company. I think they learned very early on that this son of Vince to Mischief was not going to be a 2-turner. They certainly saw that in the Arkansas Derby. So once they quit trying those miles, this horse has yet to really miss. The only spot you could even say that about would be that Grade 1 Churchill Downs, but T.O. Elvis ain't in this race. So I'll put Cornucopian in the second spot. Barry, I don't want to step on any of yours, so we will ask you who you have on top, and you've got a horse for course here.
Yeah, this is a sort of interesting race because the 2 horses that are probably going to take most of the action, one hasn't performed at the Grade 1 level, and one didn't really run all that great. Cornucopian didn't run all that great in the Churchill Downs, despite T.O. Elvis kind of putting that field away. I just wasn't enthused with his trip.
Yep.
And he hasn't really proven anything, honestly, not at this point, other than that he's probably a solid Grade 3 sprinter. Not saying that he's not better than that. We just haven't seen it yet. Not to mention that Maximum Bourbon and Cornucopian have the same sort of running style. So to me, that spells, looking other direction. And I ended up on Dr. Venkman, who does like the track there. I think he ran into quite a bit of bad luck since last year's Del Mar meet, and just didn't really get a good crack at it in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. Breeders' Cup Sprint, he just had no chance. Nobody was beating Ben Tornado. And then Harrisburg in the slop was just something that they probably didn't want to do anyway. So that brings the 6-year-old back to Del Mar, his best track where he runs the best. And I think he can get the job done. And 4-1 seems like what we'll get. Just looking at how this might be bet, I think we're going to get that 4-1, and I'm going to go to the bank with it.
4-1 on Dr. Venkman, 4-for-7 lifetime at Del Mar. Did win the Grade 2. Pat O'Brien last August. There was his last time at Del Mar outside of that Breeders' Cup Sprint. And another race where I'm not holding that one against him because ain't nobody beating Ben Tornado at the Breeders' Cup this last year. You and I were there. No. Nobody was keeping up with him on that day. So certainly he makes a lot of sense in here. And look, the one I'm rooting for here is the second horse in your handicapping. This is Listen Up Chance. They bought this horse privately for $30,000. How about that? This horse then ran really well in the Palos Verdes. This one was second in the San Carlos. Was a very good third and almost picked off a freaking Grade 3 at Saratoga with Bookham Dano in it, and Ben Tornado and all those horses. Hung with those. Would not be shocking if this one put it together on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, that really seals it for me. That last race, that horse ran excellent. And honestly, if it was 6 furlongs, that horse probably would have won. So that says a lot to me. The only thing is this horse likes to just spit it out late. Right at the end, every time, and is right there, almost beat Cornucopian. This horse definitely fits with these horses. 8-1's a great price on a horse like this because, this horse still needs to prove they can get over the hump, but I think they can with the right trip. Getting Jaramillo does pique my interest as well. 8-1 seems like a stretch, but we'll see.
3, 2, and 5 for you here, Barry. That means you have Stronghold third here. And this is one that I'm legit fascinated by. I think they've done a really nice job with the training job on this one because, this would have been easy to just, hey, no, we got to route. This is a Grade 1 winner routing. We got to stay routing. They're like, let's try the triple brand. And it goes really well, right? They try that. And that's coming out of a 1.16 race at Oakland where they also won the race, right? So it's not as though this horse, but last year in the Pat O'Brien did run a good second behind Dr. Venkman. Stronghold, I think, makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but he's very, very camera shy. Those half his starts, he's finished second, which doesn't bode well in a race like this. I do like him because he's very good horse. He shows up every time, very consistent, but he just doesn't win enough for me to put him on top. But I wouldn't begrudge anybody for putting him on top because he can win and he does. I just think there's others that are better in better form than he is right now. I know those 2 wins, but one of them, it was really a 2-horse race. The Ben Dug race, it was just those 2. And then the last one, Bartholdi wouldn't be 30-1, maybe 40-1 in this spot. So I think those are really soft spots, but I still think he's in good enough form to show up. And I just don't want any part of Cornucopian, even though he probably will make a lot of noise in this race.
I get it. 3, 2, and 5 for Barry there in the Bing Crosby. I will go 1, 6, and 3 in the qualifier there for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Sprint. He's Barry. I'm Louie. Again, check them out at Amwager. Amwager.com. Closer on Saturday is race 11. We are using the chute for a 1.16 turf race. Optional claimer, $50,000 claim price. Non-2-lifers in here, $81,000 on the line and 3 and up on the filly and mare side. Odd races for our odd guy, Barry. He gets to go first here. Where'd you land in the nightcap?
We're going to throw one downfield. I ended up on the 9 Yoga Master. This horse was running good races.
Hang on. We need to pause the show. The name Yoga Master, isn't that repetitive? Isn't yoga already a master? Huh?
It should be.
Aren't you master of yoga? Or are you
yogi.
just mastered of yoga? I don't know. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know. Yogi Master would be redundant. But...
If he were Yoga Master, it would be very, very repetitive. But go ahead. Yes, go
ahead. Right. Exactly. But yeah, this horse is running good overseas and running longer, going longer. The 2 wins this horse has is going a route of ground, going a mile. And I think I don't know what the thought process was with going down the hill a couple of times, or even that first race. It might have been just to get the horse on the track and out there
Right.
running again.
Yep.
But this spot is really good for them and their trip. I think they're going to get a really excellent trip, even though they're on the outside. They're going to be quick enough to where Cesar Belmont can kind of just place this horse wherever and hopefully finish strong. 10-1, I think we'll get that on this horse, just because the rider and the connections and everything else is kind of under the radar. But I think this horse is good. I mean, training well coming into this. There's a lot to like for sure.
9, 3, and 8 for Barry in the closer on Saturday at Del Mar. I'll go 3, 10, and 11. Lady in Paris, his second pick. My top pick here, Antonio Fresu, who is 1 for 20 at this meet at Del Mar, gets the mount here. And this was a horse that just missed last out. It's going to sit mid-pack in this race, Barry, and I think fits very, very well with what they're doing. Second off the layoff here makes a lot of sense for this one. All the things. I think this horse just fits in the spot, and I don't think I have to make the case for too long. Frankly, the 10 horse in here is take another card, not a great price, but I think Umberto Rispoli will give this one a chance. Was in the Franz Valentine last time, almost picked that off in the end of May, and should be part of the equation here. This one, though, Barry, is a horse that you talk about a lot as far as, come on, get up there. 7 times finishing second or third in 11 lifetime races with 2 wins. That's why this horse is in this condition for sure. Mm-hmm. But interested to see this one coming off of the bench from May. Not a great angle, for Simon Callahan. But frankly, nothing right now is a great angle for Simon Callahan. I'm just going on the fact that I think this horse can hang. And then you talk about throwing one downfield. Barry, here's my down the field. Quantum Energy.
Oh,
Quantum Clubhouse Ride will
like
break for the 11, which seems terrible, but it also allows me to do this. I hope everybody appreciates what I'm about to do here, which is
this is Captain Diesel.
Jeff Mullen's play of the day is finally in race 11, the nightcap here, and not even my play of the day, just last in my handicapping here in the 11 spot. Tiago Pereira is going to keep the mount here for a horse that won last out at this level and did it in a just from the clouds kind of style, Barry. And this one, because of that, I don't hate the post position, because this one's going to want to tuck in anyway. This one's been working at Del Mar most recently. I think it makes sense that they're going to be able to set up a trip for this horse to come flying late. 5 runs this year in the money, 3 of those last year, 10 runs, 6 of those in the money. So this is one that, look, might not win the race, Barry, but I think can absolutely spice up a trifecta exacta kind of play. 14 runs in the money in 25 career races. This daughter of Clubhouse Ride. So I'll throw the 11 down as my third pick in the race. You have the 8 horse here, Barry, as your third horse to close out the card. This is Betty Davis Eyes, the Irish bred. Neil Drysdale trains here, was really good on debut in the U.S. last time.
Yeah, you were talking about my kind of spicy. I like those long shots coming in. And, funny enough, you mentioned Jeff Mullins. The reason why you'll see me do this on social media and definitely through text, if anybody out there that texts me is watching this, the 2 strong arms, that's because of Jeff Mullins. He's so jacked up that I started doing that, like, I don't know, a couple years ago. So whenever you see me do the 2 strongs, that's Jeff Mullins. Just remember that.
Let's go.
Hopefully he can see this. But yeah, the 8 Betty Davis Eyes. I think this horse was in the Yoga
Jeff.
Master race back in April. Yeah, for real. Holla at your boy. Yeah.
He'd probably do the show. Just have to ask people. Yeah.
Hey, maybe you will. Tweet at us or hit us up on Facebook or TikTok, wherever you feel. Like
Horse Racing Happy Hour, gmail.com.
There you go. But was in the Yoga Master race and didn't get as good of a trip as Yoga Master and kind of clunked up for 4th. I think they needed that race. They hadn't been out since September 2025. The stretch out makes a lot of sense. They broke their maiden going a mile and 70. And, probably flying a little bit below the radar. There's a lot of options in this race, to be honest with you. So the price with Joel, who does well for this barn in general, I think I'll give him a shot to spice it up like your 11.
If you are right about the early sequence, that's going to be a $300, $400, $500 kind of payout on the early pick 5. The late pick 5 is going to pay 4 figures for sure. I mean, it just is. It's going to pay 4 digits. Yeah. it's going to pay over $1,000 for sure. It feels like a $2,500 to $5,000 kind of pick five, almost for sure. Again, if you are betting the pick five, go check out our friends over at Amwager and Amwager.com. They've got a $50 deposit match right now for all new customers who want to go check out their beautiful platform, True Odds, all the great options that they've got, all the great features over there. A platform designed by horse players for horse players. So make sure you get in with our friends at Amwager and Amwager.com. No episode tomorrow, as this will fill in for our 2:00 spot, but we will be back next Friday at 2:00. Another preview of the Del Mar card. But we wanted to do something a little bit early for you this week. He's Barry. I'm Louie. Thanks for hanging out with us on SoCal Saturdays. We'll see you next Friday, and have good luck at the track this weekend.
The champs.